To multiply radicals, we'll recall the product property, which we've used really more in reverse, but the square root of a times the square root of b is equal to the square root of a times b inside the radical. So example 3, simplify each expression. Here I have 2 radical 3 times 4 radical 5. So I have a number in the front and the number inside. Number in front, number inside. I'm going to multiply the numbers in front, so the coefficients, so 2 times 4 is 8, and then the numbers inside, so radical 3 times radical 5 is radical 15. I want to take a second and make sure that 15 couldn't be simplified, and it can't, so this is my final answer. Here I have a radical and it is times the parentheses, so we're going to need to distribute this. So I will have the square root of 2 times the square root of 2 plus the square root of 2 times the square root of 5. So I'm going to distribute, and I wrote it down. So the square root of 2 times the square root of 2 is the square root of 4, which is 2. And then here, square root of 2 times the square root of 5 is the square root of 10. Just multiply 2 times 5 and get 10 for your answer on that. C, I have the square root of 6 times the square root of 3, which is going to give me the square root of 18. And then the square root of 6 times the square root of 2, which gives me the square root of 12. Now that simplifies, so 18 is going to break up into 9 and 2, and 12 will break up into 4 and 3. So then I'll have 3 radical 2 minus 2 radical 3, and they are not like radicals, so they will not combine, and that's my final answer. So to multiply binomials, here we have a binomial times a binomial. We're going to double distribute. So to simplify A, I'm going to take 5, and I'm going to multiply it times the second parentheses, 3 plus 2 radical 3. Then minus the radical 3, and again multiply it by 3 plus 2 radical 3. So I get 5 times 3 is 15. When I multiply 5 times this next term, this is an outside, this is not an inside, so it's only going to multiply times the front. So it's going to be 5 times 2 is 10 radical 3. So I get plus 10 radical 3. So notice what happened. Here I'm going to have a negative 3 times radical 3 times 3. So this is inside, this is in the front. So I'm going to multiply 3 and get minus 3 radical 3. I have a negative times a positive is going to be negative. This time I have square root of 3 and then times 2 radical 3. And that's going to give me 2 radical 9. And 2 radical 9 is a 3, so this is going to be 3 times 2 is 6. So this is going to be minus 6. So right now I've got the 15 plus 10 radical 3 minus 3 radical 3 minus 6. So combining like terms, 15 subtract 6 is 9, and then 10 radical 3, here's my like radicals. 10 radical 3 minus 3 radical 3 is a positive 7 radical 3. B, I have a binomial squared, so I'm going to expand that. That's 4 radical 2 plus radical 3 times, again, 4 radical 2 plus radical 3. So we'll double distribute and get 4 radical 2 times 4 radical 2 plus radical 3, then plus radical 3 times 4 radical 2 plus radical 3. So this times the parentheses and square root of 3 times the parentheses. All right, so I'll multiply it out. So I get 4 times 4 is 16. Square root of 2 times square root of 2 is square root of 4, which is 2. Then 4 square root of 2 times the square root of 3 is going to give me a positive 4 radical 6. So I'll multiply the inside parts and get 6. Plus, here, when I multiply, there's nothing to multiply the 4 by. Then I have radical 3 times radical 2, which gives me radical 6. And then radical 3 times radical 3 is radical 9, which is 3. So this is a 32. So I have 32 plus 3, so that's going to be 35. And then 4 radical 6 plus 4 radical 6 is 8 radical 6. And then finally, this last one, again, double distribute. So we get 4 times 4 minus radical 7 plus radical 7 times 4 minus radical 7. So that gives me 16 minus 4 radical 7 plus 4 radical 7 minus, and then square root of 7 times square root of 7 is 7. So I get 16 minus 7 is 9. And then negative 4 radical 7 plus 4 radical 7 is 0. And my answer is 9.